weeks, in particular in South China Sea, you must have seen on the Indian border side. What's the message President has to these countries?
Yeah, I'd refer you back to the president's tweet on that one. Yep. Yes, Christian.
Thanks, Kaylee. We saw reports that before swearing in John Ratcliffe as DNI, Rick Grenell declassified a trove of documents related to the Russia investigation. The president hinted that those could be made public sometime soon. Does the director plan on doing that anytime in the near future?
Yeah, so those, I believe, are under a process of review by the DOJ, so I'll refer to them on that. Yes. Tom, do you have a question? I thought I saw you had your hand raised. No?
Kaylee.
Kelly?
Yeah, back there.
Yes, hi. Thank you. I want to ask you about Russia's recent actions in Libya. The U.S. AFRICOM has been issuing statements recently about U.S. actions there, and in their statements, they're saying that Russia is clearly trying to tip the scales in its favor in Libya, just like it did in Syria, by deploying military aircraft likely to provide close air support and offensive fires for the Wagner group that is supporting Libya's LNA fight against the internationally recognized government. What's the White House position on this? And do you agree with the U.S. AFRICOM assessment that their actions, the Russian actions in Libya, are destabilizing the region?
Yeah, we encourage de-escalation in Libya, and for more, I'd refer you to the DOD. Janelle?
Thank you, Kaylee. If Joe Scarborough were innocent, couldn't he sue the president for defamation? And then, in turn, couldn't President Trump's attorneys immediately depose Joe Scarborough and allow him to go on under oath and explain how, this 28-year-old woman was found dead by his desk with multiple skull fractures? Would the president welcome a defamation suit from Joe Scarborough?
So on that, I would just refer you back to some of my previous comments that the audio on the Don Imus show was very disturbing, where there was a lot of laughing and joking about this matter. That certainly is not a laughing and joking matter.
Do you think that Scarborough has grounds to do so?
So I have no further comments other than to just point back to the Don Imus audio. Who hasn't? Yes. You haven't gotten a question? Yeah.
When were the states first notified that they would have to take the lead in COVID-19 testing? I know the CDC was working on it early on, January, February, there was a problem with the test. When were the states told, hey, you have to prepare and take the lead here in testing your populations?
So I don't have a precise date for you, but I know the way the process went, where the states came up with the plans that they thought they would need to have adequate testing in order to reopen. Those plans were given to us, and Admiral Joie meticulously went through all of those plans, ensured that we had enough supply to shore up those plans that states had, and to make sure that the states had enough to safely reopen. So that was how the process went, and the president has done really extraordinary work with testing. 300 to 400,000 tests per day is a pretty good number, a very good number, I would say. More than 15 million done, beating the world in testing numbers, and under 10% positivity is at least the barometer given by the WHO as what's necessary. And nationally, we're at under 10% positivity. In fact, we're at 7.5% positivity rate. So we are doing quite well on testing. Is there anyone who hasn't gotten a question? Because right there.
Yeah, thank you. Has the president heard from his counterparts regarding the G7 summit? Is it actually going to take place in June at the White House?
We do aim for it to take place then. It's gotten positive reception. I inquired about this 2 days ago and was told it's getting very positive reception from world leaders. So we do intend for that to take place here.
I have a date
on you. Yeah, perfect.
Thank you. You yourself have been able to vote by mail several times. Do you think anyone with health concerns, who has health concerns about going to the polls, should have that same convenience, that right?
So what I would note again is the distinction between absentee voting and having a reason, and mass mail-out voting, where ballots are sent in a widespread fashion to people who are dead but on voting rolls, and those ballots end up in trash cans. That's a state-by-state consideration. I'll leave it to states to determine what is a valid reason, but there are, if you're an elderly person who's unable to get to...
So doing this out of health considerations for a lot of their residents. And if they want to pursue that track, is there anything wrong with that?
Again, you're asking, I assume you're asking with relation to the pandemic that's going on. None of us know where we're going to be in November. I'd first note that we don't have a crystal ball. But what I would say is that there are real concerns when you don't do in-person voting. And South Carolina is a great example where Democrats literally sued to force rushed mail-in voting. And what happened? You had ballots from South Carolina ending up in Baltimore. That is not a tenable system. And as states start to reopen and we see people out at beaches in Florida and we're not seeing these mass spikes, and we see people safely going to restaurants and social distancing and washing their hands and doing all the wonderful mitigation techniques put forward by our experts, they're reopening society and they're doing so safely. And I think there's a way to continue our great civic duty of showing up and voting in a way that is safe. And the same way it's safe to eat at a restaurant, it's safe to go to a beach, we can vote in a safe fashion. And I think that's something that is good and to be celebrated as we head to November. All right, I think I took everyone's question. Thank you so much, guys.